Okay, as promised, I'm going to show you the pink envelope Native Maiden, I guess you would say, journal. And I've got some things picked out, like I've got this pink herringbone fabric that I stenciled on that I may use some of. And these are my envelopes. I mentioned the last one that I did was brown envelopes made into the cover with pockets from the envelope themselves. So I'm going to do a pink version, which will be, you know, as they say, the same, only different. She looks good against the pink, so I thought I would do that. And I happen to have some pink, I believe it's avocado dyed paper. I got it in a swap, so I'm not 100% sure. It even has like a hole right through it. May or may not cut around that. And a couple of scrapbook papers that I really liked with this whole color combo. And then I'll add in some coffee dyed paper as well to make it a full journal. This is white on the back, so people can write on the back of it, but I think it's just pretty and it'll look good in the journal, so I'm going to use it. So let's start by making the cover. So as we saw before, I did my scoop in here and just kind of eyeing it. Just makes it more obvious that it's a pocket, not just another layer of paper that they're seeing. I'm thinking that a lot of the people that get these aren't going to quite understand junk journal, so they might not realize that there was a pocket there if it wasn't obvious to them. And then what we do with these two envelopes is we basically put the flap of one inside the other. And then what I did on the last one was I got my face mask applicator, which I think is hilarious. That's why I keep mentioning it. And I'm going to use that to spread some glue in behind there, just to kind of have that glued down without having, it's hard to get it in there with glue on it. So I'll do that. Doesn't need much because once it's all sewn together, it's not coming off. And then I'm going to make this into a back pocket, just like I did on the other one. So I want to decorate that edge in some way. So I've got the scrapbook paper, which I could use. Maybe I'll leave that and see what little snippets I have left of the scrapbook paper. I could also do something like this, but I'd rather make this into a bookmark. And I've got this, which would certainly look cute. And then maybe some burlap. And maybe I'll do this. I stamped these and it's red ink, but it looks good against the pink. I'll leave that deckled edge on the bottom. And that has a pin in it. I'll let this be nicely torn. Get rid of the decal. I'm a fickle pickle, aren't I? Say one thing and then do the exact opposite all the time. And I should decide what I'm putting. Maybe I'll use this burlap on it. I do like this stuff, and it'll just rustic it up just a touch. I can fray the ends. So, and this is like a sticker, like a tape. But I did find that my pokey tool works quite well to fray the ends of it. I haven't tried to fray the sides yet, really. We could try it. I'll just find something to protect my surface. This is pretty durable here. So I know this will work, because I've done it. Just take out a couple rows of the cross pieces. I don't think I need to save those, but I'll just put them off to the side here for a second. And then I think after this, I better get working on getting ready for camping. We're going for the first camping trip of the season. I'm filming this in May. I don't think it'll be airing for a while, because I was so gung-ho during April that I have videos for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all the way into July. Other than the odd swap haul or thrift haul that I might want to air on the weekend, or a yard sale haul that I might want to air on the weekend, that's probably going to be about it for the summer. If I put that there and have it overhanging a bit maybe, and then have this poking out under it, so I just need to rip it off a little bit more. And I might just sort of shape it with the feathers a bit. Sort of fussy tearing. I've created a new term, folks. Fussy tearing. And then I'm gonna ink that up really nice with some walnut stain. I don't know if that's dark enough for me. I think I'm going to have to get that. I think it's called scorched earth or something like that. Scorched timber, maybe, that I've seen people using on YouTube, and it just goes a lot darker. Although this might look fine against the pink. I'm just finding this isn't quite dark enough to my liking, but then I can go back and go over it with the pad on the very edges, which kind of gives me more the look that I'm after. Almost like a burnt look. Like the soft distressing makes it look aged, but this almost makes it look burnt, which I like. I know one thing I would like to experiment with in these is using cedar and sweetgrass and sage in the journals somehow. I do have some dried sage, and I can certainly get my hands on the other things. Yes, I'm going to let that be, and I'm going to do that just, no, I think I'll keep it in the center. And I think I will have it under, because I'm really kind of trying to cover up that straight edge. So I'll just put it as low as I can here. I should have grabbed a glue stick when I was out between filming, but I didn't. So we'll roll with the tacky glue. Spread it to the edges. And then watch my edging there, and watch that it's fairly straight. I love that pretty pink with that scorched edge next to it. It looks so nice. And then here I might want to put a word after, we'll see. It just occurred to me that it's a nice blank slate to glue on a sentiment or something. Again, I just want to be able to see this better. That gluey spot out of my way. And have that just overhanging the edge. So you can kind of see the fraying a little bit. And then that'll be glued down. I'll go ahead and do that. Give it a chance to dry. Oh, I was going to cover that glue spot. I'm just worried that, well, I guess it's never going to get wet. No one's going to put anything wet in here. I'm worried that it might gum up. I guess if the whole thing got damp, it could seal itself shut. So there's that. The back. That won't take long to dry. The tacky glue is good. It dries up really fast. So that'll be like that. That glue is crinkling that just a bit. And then little Miss Indian Princess here. She fits pretty good on there the way I've torn her out. I'd even straighten her up a little bit more this time. But I definitely need to ink her. I'm going to go ahead with the walnut stain again and get rid of all that white. Actually, she would look pretty against a blue background too. I'm getting ink on my fingers, but occupational hazard. I like the way the ink kind of deepens the colors of things too, not just getting rid of the white, but if you have a pink that's too bright, you can darken it down a bit with some ink. I find sometimes pinks and oranges are just too bright for me for this. And then I'm going to do that darkening around the very edges on this too. And I'm just going to make sure before I go ahead that I don't want to put something in behind her. I think those mats that I had some pink in them, so I probably want to use some of that. This is, if I can find it, I had some local map. So much want the map of Ireland on her. Maybe I've used it all. Oh, got a little bit left here. It's a map of Northumberland County, which is where we live. So there's at least a red stripe in there. Not really any pink left in here. But I can use a strip of this. I think I might want to use that. I'll save that for something else. And do just a little strip of this in behind her. Maybe going up the side. And then I was using music across the bottom before. I don't have anything that is distinctly native in music. Maybe I can just find some without any writing. Oh, here's a nice grungy one. This vintage. I'll never see Pinto again. Oh, so it's like a cowboy one. My treasure chest of memories. That kind of works. So what I'll use here, if I can find it, and I can't, is my tearing ruler. As organized as I sometimes am, I haven't been very organized today. So we'll just do this, and I'll use the raggedy bottom edge in the corner. And actually, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do my treasure chest of memories is going to be covered by her if I do that. So if I do it like here, tear here. Do the map down first. out. I don't have a glue stick in here. If I was at the stage where I knew how to cut things out of the video, I would go get one. But I'm not. And then this, I'm going to tear the bottom a little more. I do feel better with glue stick on these papers like this, but I always say use what you have at hand. This is what I have at hand right now. But it does not need antiquing because it's already nice and antique-y. But I might do a little on the edge of this map. I should have done it before. But I can just try to stay off the pink. Just darken that up a touch. And I'll put her down. Good bit around the edges so I can spread it out to the edge. Tacky glue works really well, but you do want to get it right to the edge, and I don't like it clumpy, so that's why I spread it out when I use that. And then she can go off to one side a bit, if you're seeing that. I just love this design. It's kind of evolved a little bit. I can show you them all here together when I'm done. Use the paper back so I don't use it. My pointy tool has a little cover, and I'm trying to keep track of it too. And then for this book, I'm thinking, like I said, these pink papers. So I'll use this coffee dye that I have from the last one. It should be exactly the same size that I need, which was 5.5 by 4 1/4. 5.5 by 4 1/4. And so this is going to give me my 4 1/4 because it's 8.5 by 11. And so I know that I will get, actually I should be able to get 4 pages out of this one page because the 5.5 is half of 11. That was a total fluke. Well, probably because of the size of envelope is meant to work with a page like this folded in quarters. That's probably why it worked. And just because I'm using a full sheet like that, I'm going to do the cutting with this, and I'm going to try to keep it good. So I'm going to use a sacrificial sheet on top. And I saw this trick on YouTube. I can't remember who it was, but their cutter was dull. I think it might have been Natasha from Treasure Books. Cutter was dull, and so she put another sheet with it, and it worked better. So we'll just see on this how it works. It has worked for me in the past. So you just have your sheet lined up, throw another piece on. It doesn't have to completely cover, it just has to cover where you're going to cut. Throw your fence down, and then you can get underneath that to hold it down. And then just the trimming, then if there's going to be any real raggedy edges, they're going to be on that top piece of paper. So that gives you a nice cut on the finished pages. So they're not identical. And go back and fix it so that they are. What I might want to do is just paper clip them. I really find that they move on me easily when they're stacked up on the cutter. So it's really ending up being 5 3/8. See that, how it tears? Hopefully that's just on the top sheet. Yep. So if your machine's doing that to you, tearing that page when you're trying to rip it, put a sheet on top and it should protect it from that. So 5 3/8 by 4 1/4. And I'm gonna stagger these with this sheet, which almost feels like it's 2 sheets. It's really a nice weight. Fold it lengthways. A lot of stuff out here. Throw a few things back. So 5 3/8. Just because the other one is. Now that worked better. Depends on how gently you start, I think. I'm just going to cut it to 5 3/8. I'm not going to try to line it up the other one. And if you have a little strip, you can just use that. As long as you can hold it down somehow, get it over to one side a bit so that it can be under the ruler. Nice. And then I've got some scrapbook paper to play with for these small pages. I definitely want to use these arrows. They are almost identical to the tights I have on today. So I know this is, I think it's 12 by 12 paper. It's out of a dollar store scrapbook paper book, so I'll just check it. Yeah, it's just under 12. It's like 11 7/8-ish. And there is a tear strip up here at the top, or a dotted line. I want to avoid that, I think. So that leaves me with 11 1/2. So I should be able to get my 5 3/8, 5 3/8. And it was 4 1/4. So 8 1/2. But I think I may just leave it big because then I can trim it and end up with some strips. So just deciding where I want to fold. I think I'll fold here along this white line, and then I'll have equal numbers, equal-ish numbers of, you know, I'll end up in part of this one. I'd like to get rid of this extra. You can't really plan it in all different directions, so I think I'm just going to have it that I fold on this white line. Oh, I didn't mark which one it was, so I'm going to do that here. Yeah, this one. And I should be able to do it just by lining up the edges of the paper. See how square this paper is. How square the design is on the paper is what I mean. You never know with dollar store stuff, eh? It's not even perfect, but it's not bad. And then I think I'll go ahead and do the other one that I wanted to use here too. So So again, the same thing. Do I want the arrows? It's going to be 5.5, 5.5. And again, just under 12. And do I want them this way? Or do I want them this way in the book? These arrows are going to be going up and... No, they're going to be going sideways. So maybe I'll have these going sideways too, just so it's not too hard on the brain. So I'll figure out my... Yeah, I'll do it in the middle. See, that sucks because I'm going to be about like this. Whereas if I switch directions, I can, yeah, that might be better, even though it might be confusing to the brain when you're looking through the book. I think I'll fold it right around here, which is in 4.5 inches from this edge. I'm just leave that long until I'm trimming, because then if I'm trimming back here, it might give me one extra arrow that's uncut. So I'll do my 5 3/8 cutting. And let's see here. There's the dotted edge is up here. So I think I'm going to cut it off first and then go from there. And then I'm going to turn it around here and do my 5 3/8. And another 5 3/8. You end up with a lot of strips, but this is just fabric or paper I was going to glue on anyway. It's nothing, it's something I wouldn't even coffee dye, so that leaves me a strip of that, which I can use somewhere, even if it's just to make a paper ruffle somewhere. And then these ones, I can cut at the same time, I guess. No, I don't want to cut those yet. I want to wait until my signature is assembled before I cut them to width. So I'll go ahead and do this chevron one. Cut off the little dotted line first. And then do my 5 3/8. I also find it's a little bit of a good idea to start pressing down on the cutter before you're onto this paper. So I put this piece down and see how it's longer here. So if I start pressing down to cut back here, then if it's going to be rough, it's going to be back here. And then by the time it gets here, it's kind of smoothed itself out a little bit. I've just noticed that that sort of works to do that, so I thought I'd mention it. And then, so that's 4 pages, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'm just going to leave it all pink, and I was going to add in some coffee dye, but I think that's enough pages. And then the other thing that I just thought of is maybe instead of cutting all of these off, I can fold in and make a tuck. Let's see how this goes together. These ones are the exact size that they need to be. And I think I'm going to put the arrows as the first page, and then a pink page. And then a chevron page. And then a light pink page. And then the arrows again. And then the dark pink. And then the chevron. And then the light pink. And that'll be the middle of the book. So the height is good on all of them. And then it's just figuring out what to do with the excess material here. That's not really enough to make a tuck. See, that's just about 1/8 of an inch smaller. And I think that I can't just leave that because it'll stick out. Yeah, it sticks out past the cover. So I think I have to cut this piece off. There. Maybe I will decal. Will I decal? Yeah. These are ripple, not decal. And because I have the arrows to follow, I'm just going to do it. Just erase that little spot. And then, so that's lining up pretty good with the pink page. It won't be deckled. And then this, I think, if I fold this in, will be wide enough for a bit of a tuck spot. Maybe not. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe I'll decal that too. Decal it is. Ripple it is. Sorry, I'm whispering. Don't really mean to. It's like I'm talking to myself like I normally do. That's all. Okay, so I'm going to take this one and ripple the edge, following the first rippled edge page. Trying not to go like a hair wider because that's when you end up with the pages creeping. And then this one, that pink one's in there. And then I'll ripple this one again. And then the pink one's inside that. Oh, this one's a little wider, but I think I'm still going to cut it off. And then the back side, those flaps are wider, so they might make a good tuck. Just won't have the rippled effect continuing, which I kind of like. So maybe I will cut them off. I can still use them to make a pocket or something. Or maybe it'll become a bookmark for the book. Or something. I glue it onto the envelope somewhere. I just like the rippled edge. And I wouldn't have that if I folded it in for a pocket. And like I said before, these people that I expect will be buying these don't really know what a junk journal is. So they're not all about all the pockets and tucks and things that I would put into a junk journal to sell on Etsy as a junk journal, if you know what I mean. You might not have any idea what I'm talking about. That's okay. So there's my little signature. And I have my 5.5 inch template out here, but it's now a little bit long because I cut that. So I will just do another one. They're so easy to do and only take a few seconds. That's not quite right. I have tons of strips of paper. Actually, one of these would work because it's already the right length. It's just going to be sacrificed. So maybe this one. So fold it in half lengthways and then fold it in half the other way. You don't have to open it up first. Make sure it's meeting at the end. Crease that nice. Use your nails if you got them. And then I come down about 1/2 inch. And I like to just do one way and one the other way to make sure that they're even. So when you have one inside the other one, the outside one can be a little bit different than the inside one. Not much, but just a bit. So there's that. That goes into the middle. And again, like I've done in my other videos, I'm going to go ahead and mark myself some little dots on the intersections of the folds. Not that I can't see them, but it's a lot easier to see them with those little dots. That's exactly where you want to punch. And we're going to clamp this in. I'm going to try it with just 2 clamps, not 4. And go right in through the middle and make sure it goes through all the pages. And just be careful not to poke this will go far enough to poke my work surface, which is laminate, and I don't really want to get it all marked up, so I'm just kind of being careful. And so you've got your holes right along the fold. You see I'm just off the fold on that one, so I got to be careful about that. I'll be much more careful on the outside, so that won't happen. That could throw your pages off center inside the book. So then I want to get that same template out of there, and I'm going to just throw my pin in to keep those lined up. And get this right in the crease as good as I can and centered up this way so that this and this are very similar in size, the reveals. And then clamp that down. That's just barely reaching, so I'm going to grab a bigger one. And a much bigger one. And just make sure that's right in the groove. Some people have like a cradle that they sit their thing down in to poke, and it keeps it going right, right into the fold. I want to make sure I go down far enough to get the wide part of the awl, because I do need that thickness for my needle to go through. Let's see how we did. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Now, what color will we use? We'll use that beige again against the pink. I don't have a pink that's the right color, I don't think. I have some pinks, but they're not the right shade. That's more of a coral. That will show up on it. And the blue would show up on it. Maybe I'll do the blue just for something pretty. So again, 4 times the size of the book. That'll leave me some tails left over to put beads on or charms. And that's that reminds me when I say beads and charms and talking about these native journals. I want to do some in medicine colors. If any of you follow Ojibwe customs and stuff, they use the medicine wheel, which is white, black, red, and yellow. And I've done plenty of medicine wheel jewelry over the years in those colors. When I first saw them, I thought, oh, those aren't very pretty colors, because I like pink and turquoise and purple, but it's a traditional thing for them. So I do it for the local clientele that I have that are native and believe and honor the medicine wheel. So then you put your signature into your cover and line up those holes. And I am going to clamp. I think I'll just clamp the one side. That's right, I put my clamps in my bookbinding box. I'm getting used to them being there. I've got these ones in a swap, and I've seen them at the dollar store a lot, but never picked any up. They're kind of nice because they have the rubbery tips. Okay, so what we do is we go out through the center hole. Sorry, keep saying in through. Go out through the center hole, all the way out to the outside. Leave yourself a tail. I go at least the width of the page, maybe a little more, and I'll either grab it with my thumb or stick it under a clamp, so that you're not going to pull it all the way out, and then go into the bottom or the top, it doesn't matter which one, hole, and come back in to the inside and pull that snug. Go all the way to the other end and out, pull that snug, and then go back in the center hole. I thought this was so complicated the first time I saw it, and it really isn't. It's just a great way to do this, and it's quick. Once you know what you're doing, it's really quite quick. So you come up in the center, you come back up on the opposite side of that center string. So one on one side, one on the other side. And then when you're tying your knot, you're holding that string down as well. So on the outside here, I just want to manipulate these a little bit. I didn't ink these ones, but I might go back and ink them if they're going to stay like looking frayed like that. And then you can just, I think I'm going to leave all this excess, like I said, to tie on some dangles of some sort. Maybe a few beads and then a knot and then a feather charm or something is what I'll put on those. So I really, really like the way this came out, although my pages are sticking out a bit. I'm not sure how that happened. My pink pages wouldn't be, but my white ones are a little wider. So I may go back and trim them. I can do that. I have the technology. See, I don't like that sticking out. So I'll just do a little pencil mark and make that pencil mark disappear. I don't like having to go back and do it. I like it better when I get it right the first time, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, same thing there. It's just gonna still stick out. That's still sticking out a bit. It's hard to cut off such a small amount. This one, maybe I've pushed the other envelope in a little further than the last one or something. There, now that's okay that that little pink is showing. But I want to get rid of the excess of this. So I'll take another strip off of that. And I think I have to cut this video short now. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.